Thank you very much, Noma. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a marvelous 2 days. I thank you all that made it, especially those of you that were here yesterday and are here again today. You've really, really done well. You've made my day. You've made me feel that we are not wasting our time. There are a lot of people that believe that the gap is just too enormous. That is the gap between Africa and the rest of the world. That there's no point probably even doing most of what we are doing. But we believe that the future is not out there already created. Those that are going to be winners of the future have not already been determined. Therefore, we believe that there is so much we too can do, even here in Africa, to make sure that we are part of tomorrow, part of the future. You all can now see how important things that are unfolding in the world are. Things are changing so enormously, to the point that innovations are cropping up, coming in almost on a daily basis in the world we are living in, today. You can now blink only to find out that we are now living in a new world. So, Africa just has to be prepared to be part of this new world that is being created. We are now in the age of intelligence, in an age in which almost everything that is around us, whether it's the house you are living in, whether it is each of the items in your house, all the items in your offices, the car you drive, the watch you wear, everything will be imbued with intelligence in such a manner that you can be interacting, with them. The implication of that is just enormous. We're now in an age, of intelligence. And then, on top of that, we also now have computer systems that are going to do computations that are going to take millions or even billions of years in a matter of minutes and hours. So you can only use your head to imagine the kind of future that is bringing on, to the world. And therefore, the fact that we need to also be prepared here in Africa to be part of all that, not just as consumers. Yes, we have to do a lot to consume these technologies, but also as producers. We just have to also be part of the producers in such a way that it's not as if we are just sitting idle by and this future is being created and we just get sucked into this future willy-nilly. That has been much of what has been happening. I have always often said that Africa has a follow-follow mentality. We sit idle by, not doing much in terms of creating the future, and other people create them in their laboratories and suck us into those futures. That's what has been happening most of the time. And I believe that time has come for us to wake up. There are certain things that are going very well for Africa. For example, our population, the youthful population of Africa, is a demographic dividend for Africa. And the good thing is that most of these youthful people in Africa, members of the Gen Zs and Gen A, Alpha, they are so used to these technologies. There was a time I was in London, and a friend was having an event in his house, and all kinds of teenagers and even people that are below teenage age came, some of them from Africa, some of them from Europe, some of them from America. And when you saw the way they all were interacting, you know that they are a different species almost, And those that are from Africa were as good as any one of them with regards to, most of these new technologies. And that also is the reason why I am absolutely delighted with what we've witnessed here since the past 2 days. Most of our speakers, most of even the people that are here as part of the audience can be classified as members of the youth. And this is very gratifying, for me. It means that the people that are going to take this torch and carry it on are here, and that they are not sitting idly by. They are doing something about it. When I see what the massive technology launchpad people are doing at Rome, when I see what the quantum doctor, is doing, and when I also see most of all the others that are working in the space of AI and so on, I get, motivated that yes, at the end of the day, we are, making progress, despite the fact that, yes, there are also a lot of times I'm like, no, we are not doing very much. But I also know that the gap is still there, and the gap is still enormous. And for us to close this gap, I believe that our government needs to do so much more, because it has to be intentional. It has to be intentional for us to close the gap between us and the rest of the world. It has to be intentional. China today is practically a developed country. In so many ways, some people even say that China is even now more developed than some of the developed countries with regards to so many things, in terms of the kind of cities they now have, in terms of the kind of products they are using, in terms of even how they are making use of fintech. In many ways, they are now even more developed. But it was not an accident. It was due to intentionality. In the 1948, in China, they decided that they are going to develop and started doing all kinds of things to take them, there. So here in Africa, if we really truly want, to develop, we have to do something. So to me, our governments have to take this thing very seriously and be very intentional about it. But the private sector is also not really failing us. When I see what's one individual, Dangote, is doing in Nigeria, I get so encouraged. That man has done something that is so, wonderful. By the different kinds of companies he has set up, and even more so as a result of this, refinery he has built. It is something, very, very enormous and laudable. It is going to save this country a lot in terms of effects. So, I am one of those that are hailing him. I went to an event sometime in Boston, and I remember talking to the facilitator, and I was telling the facilitator, a famous professor, his name is Michael Porter, with regard to strategic planning. He was telling us about how different countries fall into different categories, and African countries are, the laggards with regards to, with regards to development, actually, right? And he was also telling us how and what needs to be done in order for countries, to begin, to develop. And I remember also pointing out that, look, here in Africa, it is not because we can't. It's not because we don't even know much of what needs to be done. It's because that by the kind of things that our leaders are thinking about and are more intentional, about, they are not pointing us to areas that will take us, to development with a sense of urgency. And I remember him telling us that, look, it's not only government that owes us development. Yes, it will be good. It's what they are there for. They ought to. But he pointed out how in so many countries, there are examples, countries in the world where one individual started the revolution that brought about development in that country. Or where a set of individuals or a set of companies like the Shables in South Korea brought about the revolution that turned, things around. So when I see people like Dangote, when I see people like Otedola, when I see people like Tony Elnubelu, I doff my heart for them, and I pray that they should do even more, and that a lot more people should join them. And yes, a lot of people are also, joining in, including people like Abiodun Omoni. They are joining in. I believe it's also important for us, all, to do so. Yes, let the government do what they have to do, but each and every one of us owe it to ourselves to be part of the solution for Africa by doing whatever we have to do in order to propel, Africa forward. Yes, the task is enormous given the gap, but I still believe that there is so much, we can do. These technologies, take AI, take quantum computers, it's not just that they have only positive aspects, but they also have a lot of negative aspects in terms of what we can see today, and in terms of a lot of things we can't even begin to imagine in a concrete manner. For example, AI. A lot of us can see and begin to realize that AI definitely, of course, is going to devastate jobs. We've already started, even some organizations have already started listing the types of jobs that are going to be devastated by, AI. But a lot of people also say, yes, where AI decimates some jobs, it is also going to create a lot of other kinds of jobs, which is what technologies have done. Right, from the 1920s, 40s, 50s, right from even the areas of, craft jobs that technologies came and decimated, factory jobs, blue collar, all kinds of blue collar jobs, technologies came and decimated. Yeah? And today, people have also started seeing how it is also affecting white collar jobs and even knowledge, jobs. But despite the fact that this, has been the case, it has also given us so many other new jobs. But because of the nature of AI, and because of the fact that the AI intelligentsia are not just stopping at just producing domain-specific AI systems, they are even aiming to produce what are called general-purpose AI, system, or AI, that is going to resemble a human being in ability to do so many things and solve all kinds of problems and think like, a human. It's often also called artificial general intelligence. that can easily also become artificial super intelligent, meaning able to even surpass, human beings. The implications of all that, we don't know. There's somebody that used to work for Google. His name is Mo Goddard. Actually, he was born in Africa, in Egypt, but now he's a citizen of the UK. He wrote a book, yeah? And in that book, he pointed out how somebody was in an island, and then somebody was querying him, asking, that person that was in an island in that book, is it that, what exactly was he doing there? And even the author was saying that he was doing either of two things. One, he was running away from the AGIs, who are now in control all over the world, in the cities especially. So humans that are left are just playing around, hiding. Yeah? Or the AGIs have so taken up everything humans can do, to the point that all humans now can do is just go and have holidays and just focus on their hobbies and so on. So probably that person was just holidaying because AIs, are doing everything. There's something, some people, some governments have started, doing, and that is universal, pay, in which, regardless of what, they recognize that as a human being, there's a universal salary you ought to have. A basic, you earn it as a human being. So they pay you that salary regardless, of whether you work or not. Some countries have started, making policies towards, that area. So which means people are anticipating that these technologies are going to decimate, things. So here in Africa, what are we really doing? Are we really thinking about all these things? Are we really thinking about the implications of all these things? Are we really making contributions towards how these things are going to eventually be in society? I think we need to do a lot more, not just in building these things, but how can we build them in an ethical manner? How can we build them in a sustainable manner? How can we build them in such a manner that, yes, we are going to be part of the world, we are going to use them for all kinds of beneficial, reasons, but in a manner that is still not going to harm our culture, harm our cosmology, harm, our organization, harm us as individuals. How can we do so? And that's part of the reason why some of us have even been working towards a methodology for development of some of these systems, especially AI systems, in an ethical, manner. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all really, from the bottom of my heart for coming. It means to me that you are taking issues to do with development of Africa very, seriously. I also like to thank Noma very specially for helping to put this in place. And even more particularly our Uzo, who always is beavering away behind the scene. But, at the end of the day, is one of those that is making this to be possible. I like to also thank all those that have been supporting us all these years, especially companies like VDT and our special friend Biodo Money, who has always, been there supporting us every year. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And organizations like Digivision, Dr. Agabi, who also have always been there, assisting us. We thank, of course, NCC always, has always, been there. Even this particular event, they also, gave us some sponsorship. So we thank them, for that. I personally thank the Minister for IT and for Communications and Digital Economy for taking most of these technologies very seriously, especially artificial intelligence. We all know what he's doing in the area of artificial intelligence. Yeah? So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all very much. I believe that you've learned so much as a result of this event. And I believe you are also going to go back and let it influence you into some of the kind of things that you are going to do. Let it spur you on to go back and do great things for yourself and for Africa. Talk to other people. Build teams. Talk to people in even your local communities. Prepare them for this future that is already here. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.